Bonjour Matteo, comment ça va?
Bonjour, bonjour. I didn't know that was in French, but
It's in French. You're a man of the world, traveler, citizen of the world. I know you're well versed in Italian, okay, English, French, and so on and so forth. But it's so great to catch up with you finally after so many years.
absolutely, Chris.
We used to be at Swift, working at the same time-ish, but not in the same teams. We're back in 2006 for me at least, or 7.
Wow,
It's
that
like
looks like 3 centuries ago, indeed.
I know,
indeed.
it's crazy, and you've been like one of the most visible, and passionate, thought leaders in the fintech world and VC world.
Too kind of you, my man.
No,
You've been too. You've been too.
For lack of better words, yeah. I used to be active as well. So you're here at Innovate Finance Global Summit 2019 in London. You're going to speak, I believe, within 2 hours, part of a panel or about talent, I think, and maybe rebels as well. So could you please tell us more about your session?
So this year is going to be, it's not my first Innovate Finance. I think that since they actually launched the event, I've been fortunate enough to be invited to speak, which I love to because the team is great and also the community they gather together is also impressive every time. By the way, a little piece of history, I don't know if you know, Chris, but InnoTribe was actually the first tenant of Level 39. That was
You were?
a decade ago or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, London is
same.
Where everyone says where it all started, and it's keep the pushing, of course, the ecosystem not only in the UK but in the planet. So this time is actually I'm not going to talk about fintech, indeed, but I'm talking about the book that I'm writing that is provisionally titled Talent and Rebels: The Unemployable Crowd, which is actually collecting through my personal and a number of stories of I call them misfits, so type of people that are technically unemployable, but if they were employees of a company smart enough to stand and embrace the abrasion and the tension that these individuals are actually creating inside the company, they would actually be much smarter and faster and efficient in innovating themselves. So the thesis of the book is that smart and good employees do incremental innovation, but you need the misfits to nurture disruptive innovation. Okay.
Are you naming people, or you're like people
no,
you came across?
I do name people. There are individuals like our friend Daniel Marovitz. So, Dan to me is a misfits by definition because Deutsche Bank, the youngest board member ever. Then he became a startupper. Now is kind of in the middle of it. So it's like a booking.com, but the financial services of it. And is what I call, he's a rebel with a tie, right? Because, he managed to find his way inside organizations which are large enough to make a difference, right? So I'm collecting these stories. I'm very excited and passionate about this sort of a new chapter, because what I want to do is that I want to help the rebels, because some of them are actually pushed away without realizing it, but I also want to help corporations, whether it is a bank or a pharmaceutical company or any large organization that has to deal with innovation, to sort of be able to understand who these guys are, how to better put their work at usage and serve the purpose of the business, and ultimately be more flexible in the way they look at the different talents of the
Sounds quite interesting and broad. Yeah, how soon or how long ago did you start researching for that book?
So it's been.
And you're almost there?
No. It's been in my mind for a while, because actually, you need to be mature enough to realize that events in your life that seem to be happening or happened by accident, actually there is no accident. It is actually there is a fil rouge that has been connecting all these events, and the common denominator of it is you being unable to settle, kind of anywhere. And it's okay if you make peace with it, then which and you cannot make peace of it when you're 25. You make it, when you grow up and you understand. So it's been in my mind for a while, and I took the courage to actually start writing a year ago. I'm still in the process to collect some of the interviews because I don't want this to be too financial services oriented, of course. But whenever I talk about it, people understand which type of people I'm talking about, because it's only a matter of statistics. In a 1,000 people company, there are 1, 2, 3% of people who are like lateral thinkers, different. You can see them, right? I think it's about time now to be able to name them and put their work, as an asset to the companies rather than a liability.
But that would assume that companies still hired them, so they went through the net of recruitment, which is another challenge for another day.
Indeed.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
It's a great topic, and you go much further, beyond the topics of talent, which is one of the most hotly debated topics here, especially in the B. Brexit type of situation and environment. So I think a lot of people are a bit concerned with that, finding the right talent, yet alone, like the disruptive thinkers and the misfits. But anyway, so that's one thing you do, and which is dear to your heart, right? But you're also still very involved in your other baby, or your other organizations focused on, again, helping organizations to innovate better, so FinTech Stage. Or could you please talk us very shortly about that? What's the premise of FinTech
Absolutely.
Stage?
So, possibly many of you will remember the InnoTribe times, where basically we were trying, I believe we were one of the first organizations that was global and trying to foster innovation within the financial services industry. And quitting Swift in 2013, I realized that innovation was only happening in like London, Singapore, and New York. So we created FinTech Stage together with Lázaro Campos, the former CEO of the company, of Swift itself, to try to bring this movement all around the world, and especially in places where you do have financial institutions and incumbents and startups and investors who are strong enough to be relevant for the country, but maybe not with that critical mass to make it visible, worldwide immediately, right? So that we started in Italy, but then we went in over 20 countries. Now we also have a practice within FinTech Stage that deal with financial inclusion, and we are working with. We used to work with the Media Network. Now we work with the Gates Foundation, because the idea is always to work with ecosystems. It is less and less to work with a single client, but more having what we call a multi-stakeholders approach. And the business of FinTech Stage is super simple. You can explain it with a triangle. There is a partnership, a vertical, and a format. So partnership could be with banks, startups, investors, and regulators, or any combination of it. A format could be from a hackathon to a startup challenge, to a workshop, to an innovation program, to a company builder, or to an innovation initiative. And then lastly, the topic could be anything from, talking fintech with the treasurers of large corporations, talking fintech with real estate stakeholders, or insurtech, or we are actually approaching the world of pensions right now. I think that FinTech Stage served, like many other organizations, the wave of the generic fintech, regtech, and insurtech. Is now time, in our humble opinion, to dive deeper into the adjacencies of fintech, which is why I'm talking about the pensions and the real estate and the fintech for treasurers and all these initiatives that still require innovation. Some of them, like pensions, are systems are actually broken in many countries. Italy is a good example, but we believe that technology might be the only way to actually renovate it profoundly, and this is what we are trying to do. And it cannot be a single company job, it has to be an ecosystem movement. So this is what we are trying to create.
So that keeps you busy as well.
Indeed,
So at least
indeed.
1/3 of your time. Congratulations for the great news with, I guess, in the VC space now with Société Générale. Am I correct? Can we talk about that?
Yes, of course. So my friend for a long time, Claire Calmejean, which is who took this amazing job in
Not too bad, actually.
exactly in heading the whole innovation
SocGen.
exactly activities for Société Générale, under which there is also SG Ventures, which is the innovation arm of the bank. They asked me to help with with the deal flow and also with linking the fund activities to the rest of the community. And it is something that I usually do in my portfolio of activities because I'm also doing it for Intesa San Paolo, for the fund of Intesa San Paolo. It's called Neva Fin Ventures. So this is more like a relationship jobs or a connector job, if you want to, because.
You know, right?
Well,
it's like
yeah,
me, I
because
like
it's,
it.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
you know so many people
Exactly.
and they trust you. And
Exactly, and the idea is, the VC and the corporate venture capital is a space where collaboration is not only well seen and accepted, but also necessary, right? Because especially with two institutions in this case who are like not really competing, but rather finding opportunities to connect these investment arms with the community of the startup, but also with the other investors. And of course, the fact that fintech stages keep organizing these sort of programs, all around the globe, it makes it easier to, I want to say, make these two activities, intertwined.
they seem like very symbiotic, those two.
Exactly.
It makes perfect sense. So I'm glad you managed to leverage that with SocGen. Again, great company, and again, Claire, amazing leader in fintech and beyond that even. So that's great. Last question. I know you're busy. Thank you very much for your time. Anyway, Matteo, according to you, in your opinion, you know so many startups, so many industries and markets all over the world. Can you narrow it down? What are the key challenges to drive further growth for fintech firms in 2019 and possibly 2020?
I think, Christophe, that the answer to this is hidden in what we talked about or what we touched base upon already. The key word here is adjacencies. So I think that the opportunity now is using startup technologies or technologies in general, and I'm actually even making abstraction of the size of the company. And I'm not talking about the technology. I would rather talk about technologies that can solve, I want to say, two-level downs problem of financial institutions and corporations that have to do with, side of the businesses that have not been tackled so far. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Take the non-performing loans and UPTP world, okay? So there are financial institutions who have billions of NPL sitting in their assets. AI is the only technology that will be able to manage these assets in a way that is even not only financially sensible, but also in terms of the workload that needs to do, because we're talking about thousands and thousands of loans, right? So not even the qualification, but also the management of it requires a technology that today very few financial institutions are even close to approach, right? So this is one example where I think the opportunity lies upon, regulation or outside, schedules and imposed dates are of course helping it, right? So the GDPR and the open banking kicking is a good example for many of the latest investments and initiatives that have been happening. And if we take, for example, the NPL and UTP, for example, that's another case. and keep talking about adjacencies, when you think, for example, of I live in Portugal, okay, and
Like
another
Rousseau,
very
yeah.
exactly, and a very concrete example. So, think of the real estate markets of seized assets by banks, right? There are half of the Portuguese banks. They are sitting on thousands of real estate assets, and the way they deal with it is basically Excel spreadsheet. There is no intelligence behind it. There is a whole business that you could create not only in the financing part, but also in the smart management of these assets and in transforming these liabilities into opportunities for like the mass affluence, for example, to invest in it. Or you know that there is a migrants movement of pension of retired guys, you know, coming from the whole Europe into Portugal because they've been smart. They've been, you know, making legislation to like return their economy, and they've been successful in doing so. But I think that these adjacencies are opportunities that startup and incumbents need to tackle on now that technology gives the opportunity for this problem to be solved.
Thank you so much, Matteo, for your time. Again, I really value those moments, which are too rare. So hopefully now we'll make it something more recurrent and more regular. So thank you very much. See you in Portugal, Italy, France, or maybe the UK again soon.
Merci beaucoup.
À bientôt. Hein. Salut.
Merci.